This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm John Buhler, staff writer at fanside.com. I may not be vibing as much as my co-host is right now because I don't think he went through something called octuple overtime, but we did see some football this weekend and it happened and it was crazy. All right. Cody Williams, content director, fanside.com. How are the flat screens doing in Columbus right now? How are you?
Oh, they're for sure in the Olatanji, brother. And it's fitting that Mac Brown's tenure in the regular season ended today with a fist fight in Chapel Hill. You'll love to see it. What a day in college football, man. There were like three actual fist fights.
Oh, you had the one at Territorial Cup. You had one up in the horseshoe involving pepper spray, and then you got fisticuffs going up down there in the Dar Heel State, man. It's crazy.
I
I
didn't know
realize
we sent Antonio to Columbus, but then the pepper spray came out and I was like, oh damn.
God, no, we didn't. We didn't send him there. We did send him to Iowa City, and they didn't want to shake their hands. And then,
Did not want to shake their hands. Unlike the end of D2, the Mighty Ducks, they did not want to shake their hands.
dude, Iceland doesn't even play hockey. It's so stupid. They don't play hockey. They don't do McDonald. They don't do McDonald's. They just do Bjork.
Just Bjork, all the time.
So yeah, Antonio did present Brian Ferentz to his dad, so he can go back to, Thanksgiving next year. He was walking each other on a leash. It was really cool. I was so proud of it.
Oh, 100%. How could you not be? When Brian Ferentz is the trophy, you've got to go all out. And by all out, I mean having 5 first downs and still somehow winning a football game.
It's not about having a trophy wife. It's about having a trophy son. And this is Foster.
You're a trophy, son.
By crowning achievement, the best half of me possible. Who knew
Oh
who,
my
who,
God.
who knew that the woman I loved in me would create something so precious.
Precious
I'm
Brian.
precious, Brad. Precious. Yeah, we
Oh my God.
obviously false started, man. Like this, I think rivalry weekend completely broke us both in different ways that I didn't think was possible. The fact that we're still doing this here, the fact this is actually recording, we're not just talking, is
Yeah, I know,
great.
right? I hit the button. It's crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna run with this. I think more than half of the playoff field is set. So of the 12 teams that are gonna make it, I think there's seven that are pretty much locks at this point. Agree or disagree, you can add or take away whoever you think it is. I would say Oregon, Penn State, Indiana out of the Big Ten are all in for sure.
Hmm.
Notre Dame as national independent, I would say Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas are all in out of the SEC. As soon as I said that, I think if Penn State does lose to Oregon, which might actually happen and it's bad, maybe they're not. But at that point,
Hmm.
it's like Texas losing to Georgia again, or Georgia losing to Texas. I don't think they're going to punish them that bad.
No, I don't think so either. Like, it would be a really precipitous fall. And I think the other thing is like, it would also have to be like a really bad loss. And like, the thing about Penn State is like, even when they no show, even when you have the James Franklin game that we make fun of him for constantly, like, it's never bad. Penn State doesn't get blown out. So, like, if they play a normal Penn State football game, like, they're going to be in the playoff.
Yeah, instead of 10-2, it's 11-2. It's a little bit,
Yeah.
it's a little bit dorkier.
It's trying to be cooler, but just being dorkier.
No, you'll leave your lunchbox at home, Jimmy.
He's brown bagging it real hard.
He sure is. But Indiana just absolutely slaughtered Purdue. Like
Oh my
Indiana,
God,
it was
dude, it was unbelievable.
they almost beat Purdue by the spread would have been Lee Corso's age.
Dude, I mean, like the thing was, like I had that game on to start just because, like it was snow football. You like watching snow football? Who doesn't? And Indiana scored quickly, got up 7-0, and then they drove down the field and got stopped in the red zone and were kicking a field goal. They missed the field goal, and I was like, "Oh my God, is this going to be like a weird snow game where Purdue like actually does something and like really like throws a wrench even further into this whole thing?" And then Indiana just stepped on their neck for 4 quarters. They allowed 67 total yards of offense, dude. Like, what the hell? Get Ryan Walters all the way the hell out of here, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna wake up in like 8 hours and see that for Pete Thamel that he got fired. I have to write about that to start the day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's one thing to be as bad as Purdue was this season. It's another thing to lose the old Oaken bucket by 66 points.
It's so bad. But yes, Indiana's 1,000% in. Oregon's 1,000% in. Notre Dame's 1,000% in.
Hmm.
Tennessee's 1,000% in. Obviously, Penn State, Georgia, and Texas all got to play conference championship games. You're talking about what? Maybe 2% where like one of them doesn't get in or something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't even know how that would even happen at this point. Like for
Yeah. At
the
this point, it doesn't, like, I don't see how the math really works out because, like, if Texas or Georgia were to lose, like Texas would only be a 2-loss team. Georgia would be a 3-loss team, but Georgia's a 3-loss team that made it to the conference championship, and you're going to be debating that with your Alabamas, with your Ole Miss, and with your South Carolinas, basically. And if that's the case, like they didn't make the conference championship game. Georgia did. Georgia also has a better resume than all three of those teams. So like at the end of the day, like there's no question that Georgia would be in like in that spot. And like Texas is a 2-loss team, especially with the way they just beat A&M. Like I will like there were, that was a narrative coming into this game. Like, oh, Texas hasn't played anybody. Oh, Texas is gonna lose. Oh, Cody misspoke and can't talk when it's 8 a.m. Mountain Time, and so talking about Texas winning. Yeah, I understand all of that. But like my point about Texas all along has been, yeah, like Quinn Ewers is my guy. I still don't trust him. Like this offense is going to make mistakes, but you know what? That defense is good enough to where it doesn't matter. The defense did not allow a single point tonight. The only points that were scored were off of Quinn Ewers' mistake, a pick six. So like Texas is going to like, and I'm actually very curious to see what the Texas Georgia rematch looks like because like, and that has nothing to do with the Georgia Tech game. Like that's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. We know that. And so like, I'm not reading too much into that, but like, how many more punches do you have in the chamber if you're Mike Bobo and Kirby Smart against that defense? Because like you came out and it felt like they threw a lot of haymakers early in that first game. And with what this Texas defense is looking like and like how erratic Georgia's offense has been, like basically quarter to quarter this season, like I'm very interested to see what that rematch looks like.
I will say though, since Ole Miss, Beck's played really well. Like Beck
Yeah,
played about as
100%.
he played about as good as he possibly could have versus Georgia Tech. Unfortunately, I think Dominic Lovett plays for Tom Allen, Indiana, where they don't have hands. Arian Smith's been at Georgia for a generation, and she still can't catch the football. And it's the pass rush was maddening. But obviously, Haynes King is mobile. Quinn Ewers is not mobile. Arch Manning is. I mean, I figure this game is between Georgia and Texas is going to be decided by like 10 points or less. And
Oh yeah.
one of them is going to be like the 2 seed. The loser is going to be like the 7 or something like that.
Let me ask you this. So let's say Texas wins the rematch and you split with Georgia. Again, we still think Georgia will be in there, but like let's say that happens, but Penn State then upsets Oregon. Who's the 1 seed, Texas or Penn State in that scenario?
You'd probably have to go Texas because they've got 2 quality wins. That's what I would kind of go with.
I think so as well. And also like your one loss, you avenged it, which
Yeah.
Penn State will not have the opportunity to do. But that's not Texas's fault. Texas, did what they had to do, played every team in front of them. If they get revenge, like I think it would probably be Texas. But I was just curious what your thoughts were there.
I mean, number 5 would be Notre Dame at that point anyway. So there's no
A
reason to
hundred
argue with
percent.
that.
Yeah, I mean, like Notre Dame is all but locked into that 5 seed now. It's pretty crazy that we're at this point.
Yeah, at that point, like 6 is probably like I would probably say 6 would be.
Six would probably be Oregon in that case if Oregon lost to Penn State.
Yeah, but if it's like if Georgia and Oregon win, I guess Texas would probably be 6 at that. It's
Yeah.
it's yeah. Try to do the math here. I feel very confident that Indiana's in just because like they're gonna be. You can't punish them for that. I mean, yes, Ohio State obviously threw up all over itself. We'll talk about the Buckeyes here in a little bit, but 11 wins, you won 10 of them incredibly convincingly. Like that's good. You
You also
probably
beat
played.
Michigan, which Ohio State couldn't do. So like,
That's true. That's true. You'll probably have like the 10-7. You'll probably go to Georgia and then just get your ass kicked is probably what is going to happen with Indiana, but you deserve to be there. I guarantee you that.
I mean, the other thing I'm looking at when it comes to Indiana is you look at all of the teams like in that like 6 to 10, 6 to 12, 6 to 15 range, honestly, at this point. They all have bad losses. Every single one of those teams has a bad loss to this point, outside of Georgia, who I think is probably like where that cutoff mark is right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, outside of that, every one of these teams has bad losses. Alabama has the Oklahoma loss, Tennessee has the Arkansas loss. Like, Ohio State now has the Michigan loss. Like you start going down the list. SMU, okay, I'm sorry, SMU. I've been known as an SMU hater apparently. SMU does not have a bad loss, but like all of these teams in that range, except for SMU and Indiana, have a bad loss. And like so you can talk about Indiana's strength of schedule all you want, but all these other teams in this range have lost games against teams that were on Indiana's schedule, and Indiana didn't lose one of those games. They lost to the best team that they played.
SMU is the most fascinating team to talk about in this situation because they don't, they're the one throwing a wrench in everything in a way because like they don't have a bad loss. I'm not really sure they have a quality win. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, they beat Duke. Duke's a 9-win team, brother.
That's true, dude. Duke might be ranked. You broke Pitt in half.
You did break Pitt. You might have broken Pat Narduzzi's spirit, which I didn't know was possible.
You scrambled his brain and now he's loopholes. What just as you move Pitt, you go, yeah.
Let's go down the Heinz Field.
I feel you catch up, you go. And then they also beat Louisville too, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, they did beat Louisville. So like, yeah, I mean, like they don't have a bad resume. They just don't have like a ranked win. Basically, is what it boils down to.
We'll obviously talk about them later on, but like SMU is so unbelievably fascinating. It's like that's gonna be the one that everybody's gonna be compared to. And we don't know. But I think anybody else of the seven we have up here that stand out that like probably finish with Tennessee. I think Tennessee went out there. They were looking pretty rough there in the first quarter versus
Hmm.
Vanderbilt. They turned it on. They won a rivalry game. That pass rush just ate Diego Pavia alive. There was
Hmm.
nothing that the Doors could really do. They started making some mistakes. It got out of hand. They kind of came back in there. Again, it's not like a quality win because Vanderbilt's only 6-6, but like that's the type of win you need to have to basically get a top eight seed, have a home
Yeah.
playoff game. And I think I don't trust Nico at all, at all.
No,
But
I
outside
mean,
of that, I think that they're going to be a they could be a very interesting team that could win probably multiple playoff games.
I still don't trust Nico, but he has been playing better. Like there was a portion of the season where I was like, oh, this passing offense just like doesn't work. Like it's not that I don't trust Nico, it's that Nico might not be good. And he's definitely good. Like I'm going to be high. I'm going to talk myself into Nico going into next year. I can guarantee you that's a thing that's going to happen. But like he has been playing better, but you're right. I still don't trust him. And I think, honestly, Tennessee's a little fascinating to me because, like, it kind of feels like no one's really talking about them, but they're such a lock for the playoff. Like, they're comfortably, like, not on a bubble, like, not in bubble range. They won the game. Like, when other teams were struggling to win their rivalry games, they won theirs. And so, like, they're comfortably in the playoff field. They don't have to worry about a conference championship game. They're not in danger of getting knocked out. So, like, honestly, like my biggest question for Tennessee is based on what happens in these conference championship games is if they're hosting a game, because if you're playing at Neyland, that's advantage Tennessee for sure. Neyland's a tough place to play. Or if they're having to go on the road. I'm curious to see what the committee ends up doing with them based on what these conference championship games do.
I think right now the way it would shake out, it's like they're gonna probably host Ohio State or vice versa in the 8-9.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like at this point. But yeah, Tennessee could go on the road and win, but if they're at home, then they're looking good because
Oh
then
yeah.
they got neutral side next and anything can happen.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, Tennessee's in a really good spot.
For sure. The Browns are not, and Jimmy Haslam's maybe that's why he hasn't fired Kevin Stefanski yet because he's happy with the Vols.
That's correct. Yes. Shouts to Pilot.
Shouts to Pilot. Keep the pilot on. Is that even
And
what
we're
I
keeping the
said?
pilot on as because I'm running with the next segment, and that is the Mountain West. Um, Shouts to Tulane, absolutely just pissing down their leg on Thursday on Thanksgiving night, getting beaten pretty handily by Memphis, and now we're in a spot where like it's pretty much the winner of Boise State or UNLV is getting the G5 spot. And like we talked recently about like the possibility of Tulane coming into this week of them maybe getting a higher seed than the Big 12 champion, and like how that was possible. And it was definitely in the cards. Not really in the cards now. Boise State can still do it for sure. But like it's going to be interesting. Like I suppose there's probably still a chance that Army could do it depending on what happens from here on out. Like if Army were to like lay the wood to Tulane and like beat them by 30 or something like that, and then UNLV like ekes out a win against Boise State, a team that they've already lost to, like maybe that gets Army the G5 champion, but like you're threading a really tight needle for that to happen.
You basically blocked out Louisiana. They can't get in now because their one
Hmm.
loss is to Tulane. So
Hmm.
like if Tulane wins the American, like they're gonna get in over Louisiana. Army would get in over them. It's basically like maybe an extreme outside with it being Army, but I think UNLV's resume would be more compelling. I guess the big thought I have here is it seems as though Boise State would probably get the 4 seed. Like I
Yeah,
don't really,
100%.
unless Arizona State like goes out there and throttles Colorado or Iowa State. I think it's all contingent on basically what happens with BYU Houston. If BYU wins, it would be Iowa State. If BYU loses, it's Colorado.
Yeah, and I again, the Big 12 tiebreakers, of course, they're going down to the final game of the Big 12 regular season, and it's still so convoluted as to how it would happen. But like the results are either Colorado is like the regular season winner of the Big 12, or they're not in the Big 12 championship game. Those are the two results Colorado is waiting on based on what BYU does. Like, how did we get to this point?
It was so wild, like watching the end of the Territorial Cup with the Arizona State podcast. And I'm like, I think they're going. Like, have they clinched yet? It's like, no, we got to see what happens with TCU Cincinnati. It's like, are you kidding me?
It's so dumb. So,
Uh,
so very dumb.
the fact Baylor, Kansas had a factor in this. Baylor's 8-4. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, shouts to Kansas for just like lobbing a grenade into the Big 12 by beating BYU, Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado in three subsequent weeks, and then getting your doors blown off by Baylor. Like, what a run for Lance Leipold and the Jayhawks.
Dude, it's like a battle warrior from like somewhere far east. Like a guy gets like his arm cut off here. He's bleeding everywhere. He's still got his samurai. He's just chopping everybody up, and you think he's gonna win and survive, and no, he just ran out of blood.
It's the Black Knight from Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound, brother.
What are you gonna do now? Bleed on me?
I'll
It, it-
bite you.
it's called bleeding Kansas furries.
Rock chalk, baby.
Just
It's the
rock.
clot of blood. That's what the chalk's for.
The new talcum was so strong. God, it's unbelievable. So go back to the Mountain West. So Boise wins and handles business. They'll be the 4 seed. They're probably we'll see what they're gonna be on Tuesday night's rankings. I think tentatively right now, I have them as ranked number 10. They
Yeah,
could
like
be
9 or 10, I think, is probably where they're going to end up.
so, but if UNLV wins, I guess that would make Arizona State the 4,
Dude, yeah, sure. What is happening?
unless it's Colorado. Then UNLV is the 4. It's so stupid.
It's all very dumb. This is so, so very dumb.
Also, it was so dumb. Like we're trying to figure out like why we were trying to figure out Mountain West. Turns out they only played 7 conference games this year to account for uh Oregon
Oregon
State
State,
and
Washington
Washington.
State.
I love how Oregon State won its league title and they're not even gonna go to a bowl game.
Congratulations, Oregon State. Go Beavs.
I think we might actually end up having like we do bowl and or pour one out. Depending on what happens with New Mexico and Hawaii, there may be one more team bowl eligible than bowl spots. So we're going to pour it out for somebody who doesn't make it. That's going to be really sad.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be actually, I might actually have to pour one out live on air for that one.
Yeah, because it comes down to like Commonwealth, which I believe Virginia Tech just won, or they were leading big
Yeah, they
time
won
last time. That's right.
37-17.
Okay, cool. And that's all about the Rainbow Warriors to establish. it's tough because like we need we want to see the Lobos get in because they don't go bowling very often, but then somebody else is going to get left out, and it may not be UConn because the UConn's won like 8 or 9 games.
Yeah, no, like honestly, what I want to see is like one of these bowl games to just like be a huge prick about it and like leave USC out because USC has been so disappointing.
Yeah,
It's
like
not going to
the
happen because like, you want TV ratings. I understand that. I'm fully aware of that, but I just think it would be funny.
I'd be like unbelievable if like Mexico wins and knocks Vanderbilt out in live dog. It'd be unbelievable. It would just,
Now that would piss me off. I'd write a strongly worded letter.
I would put nothing but green chilies in that person's mailbox the rest of the time. Just I don't even know. I don't even know what the most blow up a hot air balloon in his yard.
I'll send him a coyote.
Cinema Coyote. I don't know if you saw this, but like San Jose State beat Stanford, and it's like they put the Coyotes out there, and then Andrew Luck comes back. It
That's
was
right. Dude, it's been the weirdest day of college football. It started with Andrew Luck coming back to Stanford, and it's ending with BYU deciding Colorado's fate.
Andrew Luck's a day younger than me. It's so stupid. I have two like the most iconic athletes of my generation, but a day younger than me, Freddie Freeman and Andrew Luck.
Hey man, you know what? The most important part is we're getting Captain Andrew Luck back. He tweeted today, he's
Yes.
re-enlisted and we're ready to rock once again.
I guess Troy Taylor's gonna keep his job. Good God.
Why? Why?
Why are we gonna do that? And on that note, I'm gonna pass on some coaches, dude. I'm passing on some just crap.
Mhm,
I'm gonna pass on Ryan Day and Mario Cristobal ever being the head coach of a team that's championship caliber. And I'm just gonna pass on Neil Brown and Gus Malzahn just being a head coach. That
mhm.
was Scott Satterfield too. Let's throw him in there. Just Big 12 bad coaches.
100%. Well, Gus Malzahn's already relieved himself of his duties, so
That was
shouts to
what
him.
That was wild. I finished my shift with that today. I'm like, are you kidding me? What is this? Pete Thamel,
First,
are you trolling me, man?
Mike Norvell, are you trolling me? Like, why the hell would you hire Gus Malzahn to be your offensive coordinator? Like, you're asking to go 4-8 and get fired next year. That's exactly what's about to happen.
It's unbelievable. Like Alex Atkins, if he didn't have the show cause, would have probably been a candidate for like UCF. Now he's just not going to work for
Hmm.
a year.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. But let's start with the headliners of coaches that we're passing on, which is Ryan Day and Mario Cristobal. I'll start with Mario Cristobal, who, look, man, I understand having faith in your defense. When your defense has already given up 42 points and you choose to kick a field goal instead of going for it in fourth and goal, you're dumb. And it's just, and like, maybe I'm letting past perceptions of Mario Cristobal color my feelings about that, but like, I have every reason to do that because Mario Cristobal has mismanaged game after game after game throughout his entire coaching tenure wherever he's been. So like the fact that you were down a touchdown and you elected to kick a field goal to cut the lead to 4 points makes no sense in the world. Like I don't care if you're a football guy, I don't care if you're an analytics guy. You go for it in that spot. Like that's what you have to do, especially considering your defense has not stopped Syracuse in the better part of 45 minutes. Like you have not done a whole lot on that side of the ball. And of course, they kick the field goal. Syracuse runs out the clock, and Miami loses. Miami is screwed. There's no shot of Miami being anywhere near the college ball playoff now. And like you can boil it down to partially the defense, sure, but I'm boiling it down to the fact that Mario Cristobal didn't give his team a chance to win. Like he basically took the ball out of his best player's hand and Cam Ward and put it on a defense that had given up 42 points. Like I can't get behind that decision.
Dumb people got to work somewhere, man. They need to make a living so they can buy
Coral
more dumb,
Gables.
so they can buy more dumb stuff and mess things up for us. That's what this is all about. You give him you give him $1 million, he's gonna buy like so many jet skis.
Dude, so many. He's gonna be like Kenny freaking Powers out here.
This is the jet ski I pee on. This is the jet ski I gonna work on. This is the jet ski I lounge on. And this is what my team's going 10-2, not going to the playoff. I'm not maybe not like all the way out on them as you are, but I was trying to rank them like, oh, they're going way down. They're going way down.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what, that made me feel really good because one, we've been picking this for like a long time. The Georgia Tech loss felt different the whole time. That was
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know how to differentiate between these two, but like we saw this one coming. We knew this was going to happen. We knew it was at what was at stake here. You're going to you're going to what Jim Boeheim prison, and you're going to play on a fast track. And
Yeah.
Mario just I don't even know what he's doing.
Dude, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like it's unbelievable. And I think it's very fitting that Manny Diaz won on a walk-off touchdown with Duke to get Duke to 9-3 when Mario Cristobal has every advantage in the world at Miami and still somehow manages to only be one win better than Manny Diaz at a far worse when Manny Diaz is at a far worse program.
And then you think about this, like who's Miami's quarterback next year? I mean, like Manny Diaz has Malik Murphy. He's
Hmm.
coming back. They're going to be good. Kevin Jennings is going to be back at SMU. Caden
Yep.
Klumnick's going to be back at Clemson. He played pretty well today, all things considered. Lenora
Yep.
Sellers might be the next Cam freaking Newton. That guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, good luck tackling Lenora Sellers in the open field. Like Clemson defenders were just bouncing off that kid.
I am so glad Georgia doesn't play South Carolina next year.
Uh, like I will say this, and like this isn't to disparage South Carolina fans, but I will urge South Carolina fans to donate to their local NIL collective because I guarantee you that any coach in the Power Four that needs a quarterback is in Lenora Sellers' ear right now, trying to say, "I'll offer you $5 million to get your ass over here."
You want to be wear the red and black next year, but I think that you'd think it'd be a great fit here at Georgia.
Honestly, yeah, that might be Mike Bobo's dream is just nothing but run plays. Like he might be really happy about that.
Yeah. He'd be so thrilled.
Oh, I don't have to dial up any pass plays? Hell yes.
Michael Oxley, who I'm sure is going to get fired before we wake up tomorrow, he's going to be like, "Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this Georgia thing because they're going to run the ball. I hate doing that.
I hate it so
I
much.
hate it so much." And we hate Mario Cristobal so much. We also hate Ryan Day. Again, another guy who's had every single advantage. It was utterly maddening. I think I had like the four screens going on at one time on YouTube TV at my dad's place.
Hmm.
So like the sound was on for like Clemson, South Carolina for me. Because I'm like, yeah, just I don't want to listen to Gus Johnson talk. I'm not into it. Or Joel
You,
Klatt just
you
talk about.
missed a hell of a Gus Johnson performance. Dude was like losing his voice actively during the game. And so like you know the pick that Davis Warren threw to Jack Sawyer at the goal line? Gus Johnson like couldn't speak. He's like, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Almost as funny as the fact that Jack Sawyer's never beaten Michigan.
Yes, almost as funny as that. Almost as funny as Kalel Mullings coming out and being like, "Some people got to learn how to lose." What a guy! Like that's the quote of the century. Especially like, oh my God, I love it so much.
It's like the guy who comes out of high school is like, "Yeah, I'm going to commit to the U and go pro in 3 years." And they go like
Yeah,
5-7. Unbelievable. But Ryan Day, it's like, I mean, they're gonna make the playoff probably. Like it's
yeah,
more likely than not, probably a better chance than Miami, but they're both like it's not a guarantee that they're in at this point. And what do you do? Do you just I know you still get Urban Myers. What's your answer? I don't think Vrabes takes that job. Vrabes like
no.
I'd rather go work for the Tishmaras, which at that point like you might as well just drink dust off and die than go work for the Giants.
Yeah, no, I think Vrabel wants to be in the NFL. Like he was at Ohio State, and I think if he wanted to be a college coach, he would still be in college, quite frankly. And so like, and also like we've already heard his name mentioned in like relatively high demand in the NFL circles for these open head coaching jobs. So like, I just don't quite see that. I did mention Urban Meyer because I mean, like, look, my if you go read the piece on fansided.com, I wrote five Ryan Day replacements, and my number one was screw it, just bring Urban Meyer back because like at this point, you've watched Ryan Day consistently underperform. You know what Urban Meyer did not do at any stop he's ever had? Underperform. And like if you want to get Ohio State back in the right position to like be Ohio State, bring back a guy who you've seen do it. Like it really all hinges on does Urban Meyer want to coach again? Because like I know Ohio State fans would be thrilled to have Urban Meyer back in the building because They saw nothing but success with him. They saw a national championship one with him and like consistently in the mix for national championships as well. So like I do think that there is some credence to Urban Meyer. He's only 60. He's not like a geriatric or anything. Like you're not bringing in like Mac Brown or someone, to come in and do that. Like it's very much a high upside move, but also a move that kind of stabilizes something that I think Ryan Day has kind of destabilized. I will say one name that I did throw out there that I'm intrigued by. Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
If they called Lane Kiffin, I would be fascinated to see what that would look like because you and I are both Lane believers. We both believe in Lane, and we think that a lot of what's happened at Ole Miss is an Ole Miss issue more than it is a Lane Kiffin issue, especially with the way Lane has matured and grown as a coach over his entire career. He's never had the resources out like in this version of Lane Kiffin. Like USC obviously has a ton of resources, but like in this iteration of Lane Kiffin, he's never been in a place that has the resources that Ohio State could offer him. And I would be fascinated to see what the upside could be. Probably the riskiest proposition you could put out there for Ohio State at this point, outside of keeping Ryan Day or outside of promoting Chip Kelly, which I did not mention. But like I do think that at this point you really have to consider moving away from Ryan Day. And there's two reasons why I say that. One was his quotes after like the brawl at midfield. He's like, "We have a lot of guys with pride." And I'm like, "You had a lot of time to show pride. You had about 60 minutes to show pride, and you scored 10 points. You got your ass kicked by Michigan for the fourth straight year. Your pride's gone. You lost all your pride. You have no pride to show. So fighting over a flag is dumb. That's weak nonsense. Get out of here with that." The other part that really like just annoys me and like I think is really indicative of Ryan Day is you've lost the same way against different iterations of Michigan over the past 4 years. Like, you know what Michigan did today? They hit him in the mouth. And you know what they've done the past 3 years? They've hit him in the mouth. And Ohio State, when they get hit in the mouth, they turtle up. It doesn't matter if it was CJ Stroud. It doesn't matter if it was Kyle McCord. It doesn't matter if it was Will Howard. When they got hit in the mouth, they were not a mentally tough team. And like we saw it again today with all the talent in the world that is at Ohio State right now. And when they got hit in the mouth, you're not a fighter anymore, dude. You're just a pretty boy with a pretty face.
There's some rosy cheeks, apparently.
Yeah, always rosy cheeks.
So you're kind of like they got to get off this regime, like Brian Hartline. Even though Jim Knowles we think is like head coaching worthy out there, like I hired UCF. I think he'd be a great coach there.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot.
So but you're like you got to just completely go a different direction. You can't go like Fickle, who's I don't know if he's going to keep his job either. That's getting a little weird. So two other names that kind of are in the same Lane Kiffin mold, because I like the Matt Campbell pick you had there, but I always thought Matt Campbell was a little more Michigan. I don't think he's going to deal
Yeah,
with the he needs to go somewhere that's not as what's the word I'm looking for? He needs to go somewhere a little dorkier.
yeah.
It could just
No, you're not
like
wrong.
yeah, like he needs to go somewhere that's Ohio State that could get a little weird.
I
it's
mean, it's a
like
toxic fan base. Let's be clear about it. It's a very
yeah.
toxic place. Quickly, too.
And I got two guys that would absolutely stir the pot, like Lane Kiffin, that I think would actually do pretty good there.
Hit me with them.
Shane Beamer and PJ Fleck. I think those
Mm,
they have something. Well, for PJ Fleck with the sweater vest, we've always said that they're kind of like front runners at programs that have a ceiling with resources. We got Shane Bieber at his other dream job, I guess, probably besides Vautech, like kicking
yeah.
some serious ass. And then Minnesota's had a quietly a very good year as well.
Hmm.
That could, I mean, Jim Tressel was coaching the Youngstown State Penguins. Like this wasn't reinvent the wheel here, man. Like you can get someone like that, just some guy who can wear sweater vests and recruit and be a CEO type. Because you think Urban Meyer's ever called a play in his life? Yeah, he did, and he got fired after 3 games at Jacksonville because he can't do it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, I also think that like, one thing you and I need to spearhead in the off season, whether it's for the podcast or whether it's for fansided.com, is kind of looking into like, the chosen one type of promotions that we see. You know what I mean? Like like Ryan Day being promoted from within after Urban Meyer steps away, or Trent Bray at Oregon State, like current, like in terms of modern, and like look back at the success rate because I feel like Ryan Day's won a lot of games, but by standards of the program where you're at, who has been successful in that mold? Because I feel like the examples of true success in that mold and long-term sustained success by the program standards are pretty few and far between. Like I feel like it doesn't work out. You have to bring someone in who like, yes, they can have ties to the program, but like someone who is going to bring their own vision and not try to execute someone else's vision.
I mean, probably the best of this historically are probably like Dabo and Gundy, and Dabo just lost and Gundy's had the worst season of all time. Like
Yeah.
but
But
yeah, you're right though. The chosen one from within, like, doesn't really work in the NFL. Look at Antonio Pierce.
yeah, Gerard Mayo, honestly.
Yeah,
Like there's like I feel like when you try to I think I may have said it the best I could was like if you're trying to execute someone else's vision, you're going to fail. And like the NFL is a good example of that. Like anyone who tried to execute Bill Belichick's vision has pretty much failed across the board. Like that's why Mike Vrabel's been successful is because Mike Vrabel went branched out and did his own thing. You know what I mean? And so like when you're trying to execute someone else's vision, it's just not going to work out in the way you want it to.
and I don't know what vision Neil Brown or Gus Malzahn had, but that's Neil Brown got smoked by Texas Tech. I know that the years are going bowling, but like you got to move on. You got to figure out if it's going to be Rich Rod or Jimbo Fisher. It could have been Kurt Signetti, but IU's paid him all that money. They got to move on from Neil Brown. Brent Baker
Mhm.
has every right to do it. And then Gus Malzahn. I looked at his Wikipedia. It's like innovative offense with hurry up. It's just hurry up and run. Like there's nothing innovative about it at all. It's like it's a gaslighting man on Wikipedia. Are you kidding
A
me?
100%, dude.
It's so stupid. But West Virginia's got to make
Yeah,
a change.
they've got to. Like I think it's pretty clear, and like it would be a mistake to think anything other than this, in my opinion. But like, it's very clear that last year was the outlier. Like last
Yeah.
year was the year that fooled you. And like, honestly, if I'm Baylor, I'd be worried that this year is that for Baylor and Dave Aranda, based on what we've seen, because this season looked a lot like what we had seen from Neil Brown going into last season, where we're like, oh, Neil Brown's on the hot seat. Neil Brown's going to get fired after last year. They have unexpected success. He sticks around, and then you just revert back to what you were.
Two dead cats bouncing off a trash can in an alleyway at night. That's what it is, man.
100% bouncing off a couch in West Virginia, of course.
He can really jump. All right, let's get out of
Oh my
here.
God.
What do you want to pass with?
So, are we passing or punting? I thought we were punting.
We are punting. Yeah, I put pass down twice. I can't read. Yeah, I put
I
pass.
I can't write. It's
We're
fine. Don't
throwing.
worry
We're
about
throwing.
it.
The season's over. We're throwing a fourth down too. We're
Yeah, Hail
punting. Yeah,
Mary, baby.
we are punting. What are we punting with?
Yeah, so I'm punting on a few teams that are kind of in that bubble mix for the college football playoff that it's going to be there are cases to be made for all of them, but there are cases to be made against them. Specifically, I'm talking about South Carolina, talking about Clemson, talking about Alabama, talking about Miami, talking about SMU, and talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes. Like, you look at all these teams and there's stuff to like. There's no doubt about that. But there's also a lot that you can really start to pick apart with each of these. Like you look at South Carolina. Okay, you have a head-to-head loss to Alabama. That's probably going to hurt you in this. I still think if it was me picking out of all these teams, I'm putting South Carolina in as an at-large team based on how they've improved throughout the season, based on the fact that they don't have a bad loss, based on the fact that they have three ranked wins. And when I say ranked wins, I mean teams ranked currently in the top 25, not when they played them. I think South Carolina is in a better position than people realize, despite the head-to-head loss to Alabama. If we're going to value head-to-head that much, let's drop Alabama behind Oklahoma because they lost to Oklahoma. So like, I at a certain point in the season, you have to like really like weigh the head-to-head in various capacities. Also, it was a close loss to Alabama. Let's be clear about that. We talked about Miami a little bit earlier. I'm out on Miami because where's the quality win, dude? You beat Louisville? Ugh. And then you lost to Georgia Tech and you lost to Syracuse. Like, not to say that Georgia Tech and Syracuse are bad teams, but like in the grand scheme of things, those are bad losses. And like, you don't have the quality wins to offset that. So like you look at these teams and there's cases to be made. Like Ohio State, people talked a lot about how Indiana only has, you know, they don't have any quality wins. Ohio State has like 1.5 because if you're gonna piss on Indiana the way that everyone has, I'm counting that as a half quality win.
That's a little harsh, but yeah, like some of those, it's okay. Clemson has to beat SMU to get it because that's the
Mhm.
only way they did because
Yeah.
they lost today. Alabama's lurking, but even though they had the head-to-head over South Carolina, it was barely a win. I would argue that South Carolina is playing the best football of any team in the SEC. I don't think I
Mhm.
think people that are Georgia and Texas fans would probably admit that. They're like, yeah, we're watching what's going on there in Columbia, and yeah, we're not quite there yet.
We're thankful they're not in Atlanta, is what it
Yeah.
boils down to.
Yes. And then SMU is like again, that's the one team here where they don't fit any bucket.
No.
They're 11-1. They've won. They beat the crap out of a bunch of mid in the ACC. So they're essentially like Indiana, but they're playing in a conference championship game.
Hmm.
Their one loss is to a team that's going to be ranked in BYU, unless they lose to Houston, which I don't know how
Doesn't
they're
look like they're
doing.
going to currently.
Okay. Congratulations, clones. You're going to be going to Arlington probably, and if not, congratulations, Buffs. You're going now.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But no, my worry with SMU is that they're in a win and in, lose and you're out situation in the ACC championship
Yeah,
game. I don't think personally that should be the case. I think SMU should probably be comfortably in the college football playoff at this point with the way you talk about conference schedule. They went undefeated in ACC play, which no other team came close to doing. And so I do think that that should matter. And I think that the fact that your one loss is still a quality loss with, especially if BYU, finishes this out and finishes as a ranked team in the regular season. Your one loss to a ranked team. It was before you made a quarterback change. It was by 2 points. Like nothing about their resume looks bad, even if you don't have the high end wins. But at the end of the day, if they lose and you put Clemson in, the committee's going to be happy about that because the committee cares a lot about ratings, the committee cares about the product, and the committee cares about the logo on the helmet. And SMU just doesn't sell quite as well as Alabama, quite as well as Clemson, and all these other programs that are in the mix.
also the fact that like the loss to Clemson would be that devastating. It would be the same reason
Mhm.
like if Georgia would have lost to A&M, it would have been the same thing where like that's so bad. Your third loss or whatever it is, or your second for SMU's case is like it's gonna knock you down considerably. It's the same thing
100%.
if Indiana would have gone to Indianapolis and got destroyed by Oregon. It's like, yeah, the two times you played somebody with substance, you got absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
So like this just sucks. And again, like Miami might fall ass backwards into it. That's why I can't officially cross them off because there's a possibility where Clemson gets in, and then at Miami's in there is like the 11 seed, and then they play like Texas and lose 44-10.
Yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I've been out on Miami. Like I'm so done with this team. Like I don't think they're that good. I think they have Caleb Ward who's really good, and then I think the rest of it is like a bunch of underperforming nonsense.
I think if I mean we'll probably figure this out on Monday's show, but I guess probably wrap this up here. So that okay, who do we want to see in the playoff? Let's just kind of go there just to finish up, just kind of because we're almost there, we could see it. So like let's get the four teams in from the Big Ten. I feel like that's just a good way to start.
Yeah, I
Let's
think I mean
put
I think it's pretty comfortable at this point too, honestly. Like as much as
mhm,
I want to pick apart what Ohio State's done, I think they're probably in. Like it's going to be hard for me to envision a world where Ohio State gets knocked out.
for sure. So let's get to five. Let's add Notre Dame. Let's add Boise State. That's six. Okay, we got
Yeah.
six teams halfway there, living on a prayer. Georgia, Tennessee, Texas are in. That's nine. Let's put SMU in there. That's 10.
Hmm.
Then
Give
we
me
got to
South
get it.
Carolina, bro. I
Give me
want
South
South
Carolina,
Carolina in this
South
field.
Carolina, and then Arizona State. Bid. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. There we go.
Look,
That's
we got it.
that's what we did it. We did it. We figured it out. Seated. Dan Marino, send it in.
Look, I'm sure Alabama fans are like bouncing off the walls right now because hey, like everything Alabama needed to happen to get a three-loss team into the playoff, they got it today.
Yeah.
Ohio State losing, Miami losing, Clemson losing, like this is all very beneficial for Alabama. And I don't want to see Alabama in the playoff, dude. You lost to Oklahoma. Like that's what I can't get over. You lost to Oklahoma. You cannot lose. Like I do not want to see a team that lost to Oklahoma in the college football playoff. If you lose to Oklahoma, you are automatically disqualified in my mind from competing for a national championship.
Yeah, you lost to Ben Crane, man.
Yes, exactly.
Golf boys, man. What a I wish Drake Stoops had like one more year of eligibility. He could have probably gotten like two more wins.
Shouts to Drake Stoops, the
Drake
Danny
Stoops.
Stutzman you have at home.
Hell yeah, yeah. Let's get out of here. Okay, this is false start. Yeah, this was 3 yards in the cloud of punt here for week 14, rivalry week. I almost said that correctly that I got in my head, and then I'm just not going to say the R word anymore. It's impossible.
We
Not
shouldn't say
kidding.
the R word. It'll get you canceled.
No, you can't. Rivalry. Rivalry. A funny story. I had a friend growing up. His brother had like the trouble saying the like his R's are all W's. So
Yeah.
one year for Halloween, I had his brother get him everything with an R in it. Waste call.
I had a buddy growing up. Actually, let me rephrase that. I had two buddies because they were identical twins who both had identical speech impediments, and it was the same one that you were describing there. And the thing that we would always do is the word bird and the word board. When you mispronounce your R's, they sound very similar. It becomes board and board, and that's what we got. We got a lot of board and board.
It's okay. It goes back to Brooke and Robin Lopez. Robin had that too. His name was Wobbin and Wook.
Wobbin and book.
This was false start.
All star baby.
You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter, the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. 5-star reviews. The glove, dude. It's like Lannister's hand, man. It's like Luke Skywalker's hand. 5 on Apple, man. Give it to me.
Please
Oh God, please. Yes.
take my strong hand and give us 5 stars.
Give yourself a big hand there, starters. Oh my God. I just woke if you woke up from your tryptophan nap, congratulations. Because you're listening to False Start.